Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today our discussion is about linguistics interference from L1 to L2. Before we start our discussion, I will tell you about our materials today. One is terminology, two is interference from L1 to L2. For the first material will explain by Bernianti, and then the second material will explain by Afrilia Nusolihah. Okay, so let me start our discussion today. First, terminology. The language which is acquired during early childhood, starting before the age about 3 years, is first language. According by Sinha, Banerjee, Sinha, and Sastry, 2009. First language has different names such as mother tongue, native language, and primary language. Sinha et al. 2009. And then a second language acquisition is needed for education, employment, and other purposes. And it is typically an official or societal language. Like example is English. And then for the first language in our country is Indonesian. There is definitions of interference promoted by language scholars. According to Winrich, 1968 on 14th page, interference is the deviation of language known in usage as the effect of bilingual towards another language. And interference also the deviation of target language as a result of their familiarity with more than one language. Interference divided into two parts, the psychological and sociolinguistic. For the psychological refers to the influence of old habits when new ones are being learned, while the sociolinguistic refers to interactions of language when two language communicators are in contact. Basically, the emergence of interference occurs to the level of bilingual interpreter, especially oral interpreter. How far they know and master sort of language and target language well and correctly, and how often they use and changes from one language into another. It causes interference. According to Lout and 1983, there are three factors that cause language interference. One is the interlingual factor. This is the result of negative transfer of first language rules to target language system. This concept comes from contrastive analysis of behavioristic school of learning. While this concept will explain detail on the next group. And then two is the overextension of analogy. Wrong in using a vocabulary caused by the similarity of the element. The example is the using of month and moon. Indonesian learners may take a mistakes by using month to say moon in the space. And then the last one is transfer of structure. According to Duley, 1982, there are positive transfer and negative transfer. Negative transfer refers to those instances of transfer, while positive transfer is the correct utterance. So that's all the explanation from me. Next will explain by my friend is Afrilia.
So I will continue the material. The second material is about interference from L1 to L2 or from first language to second language. First language equation refers to all people's activities to master their mother tongue. The such kind of activities could be done through both informal and formal education. Informal education is often named learning a language at home or untutored or naturalistic acquisition, while formal education refers to learning a language at school or tutor or classroom acquisition. There are several language aspects of the student native language, in this case Indonesian, which are different from the target language English and presumed to influence auto learning. Among them are there are sound system, structure, and sociolinguistic. In producing the sound system, however, it is easily recognized between English native speaker and non-native ones from their pronunciation of word. The greater the mispronunciation of the word, the more difficult the words are understood. For instance, an Indonesian student might find it difficult to differentiate between I need a pen and I need a pen, since Indonesian language doesn't distinguish the pronunciation of the two vowels. For example, spelling mispronunciation may be caused by spelling and it may then cause a misunderstanding. The sound I, for example, has my spelling E as in need or feed and E as in receive. The second is about structure. Since Indonesian language belong to the Austronesian family, which English belong to Indo-European, there are several aspects of language structure which are significantly different between the two languages. One of them is tenses. Indonesian language doesn't have tenses. People emphasize the exact time by only describing it in word. Now, today, yesterday, last week, tomorrow, next year, and so forth. For example, to have sentence like this, you go to Jakarta tomorrow. I live in Jakarta for 5 years. Which day should be, will you go to Jakarta tomorrow? I have been living in Jakarta for 5 years. And last is sociolinguistic. Sociolinguistic is one of several language aspects which is concerned about the culture and the society of a nation. The importance of sociolinguistic is often neglected in learning one language. In communicating with the native speaker of English, we should not use the sociolinguistic in Indonesian context in order to be able to prevent from misunderstanding. For example, in greeting, English, "Hi, how are you?" In Indonesian, "Halo, mau kemana?" It is common in Indonesian context to continue with the question, Where are you going?" or "Where do you want to go?" In the English-speaking communities, however, it is uncommon to ask such a question except for our close friend or someone we already know well. So that's all about our material today about linguistic interference from L1 to L2 or from first language to second language. Thank you for your attention. I hope you guys can understand with my material. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.